Good morning, students. Today we are going to do another important aspect of literary history, and we are going to do the pre-Romantic period, or also known as the Augustan Age. In the history of English literature, the period of over 100 years from 1660 to 1789 is variously called the Augustan Age, or the Classical Age, the Pseudo-Classical Age, or the Age of Neoclassicism. It is called the Augustan Age because the writer of the period supposed that their age was an age of brilliant writers like the age of King Augustus of ancient Rome. Further, they supposed that the poetry had the same qualities as the poetry of ancient Greece or Rome. And then they were really and correctly following the rules laid down by the ancient poets. In reality, the period doesn't have the qualities of classical poetry, nor the poets really follow the rules of the ancients. The rules are much misunderstood and misinterpreted. In the classical poetry, a harmonious balance was maintained between poetic expression and poetic substance. But in the poetry of this age, too much attention is given to the expression at the cost of substance. Hence, this age is not really classical and is rightly called the pseudo-classical age or the neoclassical age. Pseudo-classicism is the result of a number of factors working together. Reaction against the fantastic excesses of the metaphysicals, the influence of the French writers and critics, the study of the ancient and the great admiration for them, and the scientific rationalism of the age all contributed to the growth of pseudo-classicism. The chief characteristics of the school are best represented by its poetry. They are: 1. It is calculated by its formal perfection of the language than for the subject matters. Loftiness and grandeur are imparted to the language of poetry. This results in the growth of an artificial poetic diction, and the language of the poetry is cut off from the language of the everyday use. 2. The poetry is deficient of emotion and imagination. The poetry of the period has a hard intellectual tone. 3. It is exclusively a poetry of the city. It is as artificial as the life it deals with. It has no love for the humble humanity. 4. It has no love for the beauties of nature. Dryden had no love at all for external nature, and in the hands of Pope, nature becomes unnatural and artificial. 5. Imitation of the ancient is the general rule. They try to follow the rules laid down by the ancient poets, and therefore instead of spontaneity, we got an artificial poetry. 6. There is much reflection and philosophical comment of man and his life. Hudson remarks that the poetry of the Augustan age is, quote, the product of the intelligence playing upon the surface of life, unquote. 7. With a few expression, the poetry of the age is written only on 1 meter, that is the heroic couplet, that is 2 iambic pentameter lines rhyming together. It is an age of satire and reflective poetry, hardly in a lyric and sonnet worth mentioning belongs to this age. Thank you.